On the phone with her mother. Yay. This will be a fun phone call. Death notification is a task I avoid like a plague. Although I've known Rebecca since childhood, there are plenty of reasons why I shouldn't be the one breaking the bad news to her parents. 1, protocol states you're always supposed to do this in person. 2, protocol also states you're supposed to do this with a partner. And 3, I've never been good with words. But here I am, unceremoniously thrusted into a task all because there's no other one. As expected, everything goes as well as my blunt mouth can take. Mrs. Gale's relentless sobs echo loudly through the receiver when I finish informing them. All I can say before ending the call is an empty...
I'm really sorry, Miss Gales.
Before ending the call with a click and heading back inside Isabella's apartment. Her mom's voice still ringing in my ears as I leave it all in the hallway behind me.
Can I mention something? That's very unrealistic. Typically, with a death notification, they would contact whatever, because the parents were out of town or whatever, so they would contact whatever local police agency they're currently in. So they would call, where did they go, Ireland?
Scotland, I think?
Scotland?
Yeah.
They would call up wherever in Scotland and be like, hey, this is where these people are staying, we think. I guess you'd have to have that information, but...
Yeah, and then the people there would go and do it in person.
Right, yeah. Because a phone call would be awful.
Yeah.
But... I'm sure Ashton also felt like he should do it.
We'll go with that conceit, yes. Here, though, Isabella's cries have already faded into soft whimpers. And sometime, while talking to Rebecca's family, she's fallen asleep. Now she lays still, curled up under her blanket. Wordlessly, I take the empty space on the edge of the bed. Despite how peaceful this all seems, the gravity of her death has hit all of us hard. It is in the dense air now, lingering in the room. It hangs heavy on my shoulders while I try to make sense of everything in my head. Most of all, it's in the furrow between Isabella's brows. Gently, I reach out to smoothen it out. She reacts with nothing but a sigh before turning on her back and burying herself under the sheets. Rebecca's dead. She's the last person I need to account for, damn it. Although Zach's not in a better situation, he's alive. Isabella's here.
How could this have happened?
With no ears to hear, the question merely fades into nothingness. How many more close calls do we have to go through? How many deaths do we have to witness? How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with the same mind can last like this, losing people important to them one by one, right in front of them. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. She, out of all of us, carrying a much deeper attachment with the people she loves, no matter how little time she spent with them. After all, she was the one who found that letter. I've expected her to have caved in by now, yet her voice, surprisingly calm and composed in the face of this, is what suddenly cuts through the thick air.
Ash, what do we do now?
It's a question I've been dreading to hear. Unable to offer an answer, I avert my gaze and mumble my uncertainties under my breath, hoping she won't hear.
I don't know.
I don't even know how I'll be able to keep you safe.
We can't let that woman, that thing, take more people from us. I'm not going to lose you or Zach to her.
Well...
You. Her bed creaks, dips, when she pushes herself off of it, takes empty space on the couch. Quietly, she begins gathering every paper from BRC and starts laying them out on the table. Once done, she glances briefly at me, a sharp, determined one, and gets straight down to business without another pause. With what happened, I have no choice but to follow her lead. Although there's some tense fuming at fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam soon enough. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed has been laid out for close scrutiny. Her encounters with the woman, our close brushes with death every time she appeared. The dread, the fear, the terror she brings out, even in the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be. Logic be damned. Or at least that's what Isabel and I would like to believe. Yet even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon and eventually night, none of this still makes any fucking damn sense. Okay. So assuming everyone wasn't dead, I imagine this is where we'd all have gotten together and have pieced together the different fragments people have gotten. Like Rebecca having the news about the past would have been something that came up. Zach and his photos of Hannah. Now we don't have them. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I've intended.
The table harder.
The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and we simply fall silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing yet.
I don't know why they brought all of those records from the business. Like, they haven't talked about why, like, what was in there that they were like, yes, this has information. You know what I mean?
The only ones I remember was that it was the names of everyone who had anything to do with the mansion.
And the people that went missing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they didn't read it. Ash, please, Rebecca wouldn't want us to give up on this.
It's an odd thing to hear from her.
Well, I mean...
The very words I've been telling myself every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little bit of optimism right now, I guess. Isabel's right on the other point as well. Rebecca would definitely give me an earful herself if she were still here. She had a knack for being brutally honest with her opinions. We had often clashed at times, yet I still respected her for it. Her opinion was as valuable as every other person I've let into my life. I can't lose another person like that.
I know, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, we already looked through those files. You're the one that picked it out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper right before the open house. No one was allowed inside that place for a time that day. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean-Marie.
But if we're going to include them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? How does this thing even work?
Yeah, okay, we went in and out of the place, but no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is, maybe there's more to this than just the letter.
Possibly.
Ashton?
Hey, I'm trying my best here. I wasn't trained to deal with this kind of shit.
You're also missing a lot of things here. There's still a gap. A huge one. Even with the information we currently have right now, it still feels like there's something we're overlooking.
I don't know why they wouldn't have been like, why was she at the library? Because originally he thought that she talked and was like with the professor. I don't know, I feel like he would have called the professor.
Yeah.
And then they would know stuff.
All we have to do is go with is the letter and the stuff selfish people have been keeping from the public. But what else? Where this all started? The Ermengarde Mansion? We'll bring the letter back there, fix everything. Fuck. How do I... The mansion's a private property now, can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. After what he did to Zach, not gonna happen, over my dead body. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act as fast as I want. Oh, excuse me. I have to act fast if I want to keep my friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she'll get us like she did with Rebecca, and damn it, I hope Zach's safe where they're keeping him. There are guards stationed at the holding cells 24/7, but you can't be sure. This is a ghost we're up against. Before anything happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. A break is needed, time to let everything sink in, or else we'll burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I can't let happen when we're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in Isabella's eyes as she looks up at me, waiting.
We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few.
The rest of it never makes out of my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room.
TV got all staticky.
A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of every person in the room. All at once, Isabella's on her feet, while I quickly palm for the gun on my table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the two of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ash, do you think that's her?
Gather everything.
No questions asked. She wastes no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella is unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms, her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension, already gripping the place. Suddenly, the lights go out, and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles, as if something begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward, and I release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person, but I'm not sure if this will work on a ghost. Right now, its smooth surface against my palm, with the trigger on my finger, provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing? Ashton?
I have everything. We should just...
Worried as she is, she immediately stops at the slight raise of my hand. But the edge is there, while huddles in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, wherever I find, she has enough time to run from her position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. It's like the locker. Mm-hmm. Whatever's inside, and the door at the beginning. There was like weird rumbling when Rebecca first went to the mansion behind a door. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder, the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. I glance at Isabella. A nod. Something creaks. Then in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swinging the doors wide open to reveal nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards Isabella, only to see her mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders
We should go. Isabella, we need to... Ah!
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision. And then, I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose. Nauseating, sickening, a foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard, it reaches my ears. My eyes snap open. Perhaps it's just inexperience, or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes. The gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It is in the manner her gaze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers who never regretted their actions despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know, the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, she's already going to be the—
Ashton! Snap out of it!
No, I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind, and instincts kick in then and there.
Isabella, out! Get out! Get out of it!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wail she fills the room with. Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing for Isabella's arm and leading her out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring the gas pedal the second she closes the door behind her, and in a short while, I'm driving us out of Salem Well. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night.
A dreary downpour starts off the Monday. Although it doesn't last for more than an hour, the dark clouds lift just after the sun peeks over the horizon. Brief as it is, the rain has significantly dampened the park's usual cheery vibe. Mornings like this often mark the start of another bad week. An arrest gone wrong, another investigation leading to a dead end, or some truly fucked up shit being called in. Like that one time I was dispatched to a scene where a guy gouged his own eyeball out and almost ate it. Was a few chews away from swallowing it, in fact. Lost my dinner that day.
Fun times.
Of course, I doubt anything can top getting cursed by a damn chain letter, of all things. This is the This is the sort of stupid thing people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. A ghost chasing after you just puts the icing on that cake. So far, all we've done is run, snoop about, read stuff, and run again. It frustrates me to no end how we're still no closer to an answer. Even my car reflects the state my mind is in. Photocopies of documents litter every available surface. Scattered all over the place, spilling from the passenger side and into the back seat, making an entire mess of what little space there is. Not that I'm any better. My last shower was 24 hours ago, and I haven't slept at all. And my last meal was that chocolate porridge thing Isabella offered. The way I am now, I'll definitely get a scolding. If Becca were here, she'd give me an earful and tell me to take care of myself better. Say that I'm killing myself on the job. There's so many story updates, holy crap. I can already hear Isabella complaining how dark the bags under my eyes are getting, and about how I reek and how I need to shower pronto.
I can rest easy when this is all over.
It's not that I can't feel the pang of hunger. With that woman chasing after you, it's difficult not to feel anything other than horror. The rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins is my desperation to survive. In fact, I can still sense the ghost of her touch from last night. Her bony digits wound tightly around my ankle, and that horrid smile she has on her as she pulls me closer. The memory's enough to send a shiver up my spine and make me antsy. Perhaps the only thing comforting about this is the sight of my gun nearby. From my dashboard, sunlight glints off Ophelia's surface. He named his gun, too.
Okay, so his gun's Ophelia.
Has he mentioned it before?
Well, no, but earlier when we started, we looked at his profile and we were wondering why it says Shirley Ophelia and like what's Ophelia?
Yeah, okay.
Who? Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Normally, I keep it hidden in a compartment. Luxborn police regulations only allows authorized people to carry firearms, and even those are limited. I do have that authorization, but I never really saw the need for its use, when the standard issue tasers are more than good enough to incapacitate anyone. If not, I can always throw them on their back. Those judo lessons Dad forced me to get as a kid has its uses too. On a ghost, though, all those will probably yield the same result. They're all useless. I might as well use a stick. However, it's the feeling of ease I'm after, or what little I can gather from it. The awareness that I, at least, have something to protect myself with in case things go wrong. That I can still protect the people who are still depending on me, despite the missteps I've taken. It doesn't take the edge off, though. The feeling that your whole body has been strained far beyond its capacity. Frankly, I'm already running out of steam. The only thing pushing me right now is knowing someone's still depending on me. A stretch is still in order, though. I've been sitting here since last night. Soon I step out from my car, closing it behind me with a thud as I take in my surroundings. The rain did wonders. The morning air feels crisper and cooler than it has ever been in days. For once, the weather seems to be taking a turn for the normal. Luxborn normal. In the distance beyond the buildings, lining the horizon, dark clouds are blowing in.
A storm might be due this evening, give or take.
A shame for the people looking forward to Halloween night. Is this the farthest we've made it, the 31st?
Yeah. And Zach's dead this morning.
Yeah. I'm just not sure whether this is something I can look forward to as well. Still, I bask in the change it brings. Inhale, exhale. Breathing in, taking in the peace, as if it'll be my last. But as with all the good things, the quiet shortly comes to an end. Not necessarily a bad end. Her humming reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find her. Isabella, just as she enters the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. After last night's flight from Salem, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our own homes will still be safe. Normally, we would both be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like we've gotten any ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. But looking at her right now from afar, it's easy to mistake her for someone who's simply out on an early morning stroll. Her steps are light and free as she walks, the expression on her face calm, if not untroubled. Her voice fills the atmosphere with a light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life and death situation the way she acts now. Easy to forget we've lost someone, or one of us is being framed for a crime he likely didn't commit. If anything, it's only her appearance that betrays that mask. Slightly disheveled, bags under her eyes, an exhausted curve in her shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer she gets, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. She passes an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it, and hands me the other bag she's holding, before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze.
Energy sheep.
Whatever sweet sauce they drizzled over this pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for her to start. Although she appears to be of the same mind too, and soon enough she also starts with hers. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. As exhausted as we both are, food is something we can't forego. Starvation dulls the thinking, weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're going to have to take care of ourselves first. It's one thing Zach will likely remind me if he's here. I know that's what Rebecca would do. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin. Along with it is the shift in the mood. Back to dismal. Back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kinds of moments between us. We've never had the chance, always busy on some project or work. The things we've taken for granted, now we're realizing how valuable they are. With one of us gone, the other stuck in a jail cell, the world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we've just had is short-lived, it's another thing I want to look forward to, if we ever free ourselves from this damn curse. I'd like to believe there's a way. For now, we have to focus back on the present. This. Dead people. The letter. The curse. It's not simple to bring these up, but necessary.
What now? Where do we go from here?
It's an innocent question at best, but she looks to me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, back when I was at the top of my game, and I'm still sure of everything. Now there's just uncertainty, sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here, and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue, and stress, we have enough kindling to get a fire burning. The not-so-pleasant kind of fire.
We can't stay here. We'd be sitting ducks if we remain in one place.
It's so tense.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Ash. Sooner or later, she'll...
I feel like it just bounced, mounds the level of
We went from 0 to 20.
Yeah. Like the music, and then she's like, oh, we can't stop.
We don't have much of a choice, Isabella. Even our homes aren't safe. Anytime, that woman, that thing might get us. Fuck. A zombie apocalypse would be better than this.
So what then? You're giving up?
You're just giving up?
Nobody said that.
Ah!
Just because this whole thing isn't panning out the way you want it to, doesn't mean there isn't a way out. Ash, I know Zach wouldn't want you to do that. I know Rebecca wouldn't.
Rebecca's gone. Dead. Isabella, if what happened last night didn't tell you how bad...
I know that. You don't have to keep reminding me. Do you really think I don't blame myself for everything?
Wait, what? No.
Wrong. No. If there's anyone who's responsible for getting everyone in this mess, it's not her. She warned us. She warned me. Tried to stop me when pried the letter off her hands.
The letter off her hands.
Ooh. It's never her fault. If there's anyone she should be blaming, it's me.
I'm not... No one's telling you to...
Simply seeing that expression on her face, that guilt eating away at her.
Well, please don't think that way. Not right now.
It hurts.
No, but you might as well just say it.
It hurts that I can't even do anything to lighten that burden.
Even if you don't, I know everyone, even Rebecca, thinks this is...
It hurts that I can't even find the right words to soothe that grief.
Belle, that's enough. We'll just have to make do with what we have. Stop blaming yourself for every little thing, because it's not even helping anyone at this point.
We both falter to silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at her, to add to that kindling. Not in a moment when anytime, anywhere that damn ghost might get to one of us. We're both in the same boat, yet here we are, playing the blame game. Little by little, we're falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did that ghost mean for this to happen? To divide each of us so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows?
Yeah.
Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all of this out. Fuck, I still can't think straight. I can't even believe the next words coming out of my mouth, that out of everyone, I have to be the one saying these to her. This is more her forte than mine, keeping the peace, getting along with everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope?
I swear I'll get us out of this mess. I'll find a way to get Zach out of that place. But if we want to make it out of this in one piece, we're gonna have to calm down first.
Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling in me. I'm not even sure what or who I am angry at. The ghost? At her sudden outburst? Or maybe at myself for being this useless? Because despite her not saying anything, I know, goddammit, she's still counting on me. In spite of my failures or every harsh word I've uttered, or how unbearable I can be as a friend. It's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks and she follows me and gets in the car. It's in the concerned glances she shoots my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in her silence. A heavy gift, her unwavering trust. Yet it's one I'm more than willing to carry, even through my own exhaustion, if only to keep her safe. In this city of 68,000 strangers, she's the only one I have left. Though in all seriousness, a good rest is still our best bet for now. Thinking with an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. We might as well just throw ourselves at that ghost and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud. Sometimes the music played by drunkards grates the ears and the whole place smells like piss on a bad day. All in all, it's the very definition of the last place I'll hang around after a wakeful night. But it's safe. Or as safe in it as it can be with G's security watching the place. It makes it easy to find help in case you find yourself in a tight spot. The place being owned by a person I've implicitly placed my trust on provides some semblance of comfort too. Gregor, bartender G, or just G to his regular patrons, might be rough around the edges. Sometimes a bit too gruff for a man serving drinks behind the counter, but he belongs to the good folks of this city. If there's anyone in this place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well, surprisingly, despite his surly demeanor. Cares to some extent for people he likely only sees once or twice a week or on a bad day. Not the best job in the world, in my opinion, but that's exactly it, isn't it? In wine, there is truth. Alcohol, in this case. It loosens the tongue, forces one to let his or her guard down. Whatever inhibitions anyone has, it all flies straight out the window after a few glasses. It has made him observant, too. Always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time it's me, opinionated ass. But God knows how many times I've asked for his help when I'm met with a dead end in a case or I'm in trouble. This time's no different.